Check this out, guys. We gotta look into San Francisco's biggest mall, most famous mall. If you look at the city center area, this is a very sad sight because this used to be a place filled of shoppers. Like before the pandemic, this mall, the Westfield Mall and surrounding areas of shopping districts, were all just packed with people every single day just shopping for goods, right? There's several malls in San Francisco, and many of them, and even the biggest one, have all fully closed down. This is a very sad sight to see because if you look at this Twitter video, they even put up Christmas decorations, but there's no stores. There's no customers. This is a very eerie vibe. Yes, you have a couple stores here and there, but where are the shoppers? You have decorations already put in. Half the escalators don't even work. And look at this. This is just pure emptiness. And this mall is not shut down because they're still adding decorations. There's still cleaners. There's still janitors. There's still people maintaining the building, but they're just not getting any tenants. This is a very bad situation because, yes, malls are dying, but if you go to like the downtown Chicago mall, downtown LA mall, or like the Manhattan malls, it's still packed with people to the brim. But the reason why many of these stores are now closing down in San Francisco is the amount of shoplifting. We all know that Chicago really isn't that great of a city in terms of crime rates, but at least they got a little bit of the shoplifting on point, right? Chicago shoplifting, it's still pretty bad, but San Francisco is on a whole different planet here. Westfield Corporation gives up on the downtown San Francisco mall. This is a massive mall with Nordstrom being their biggest tenant. Nordstrom has now moved out of San Francisco altogether. It's not just Nordstrom, but also their side flagship, the Nordstrom Rack. And the company that's actually moving into the location when all these stores are leaving is the IKEA store. But guess what? The IKEA store is completely empty. I could make a whole entire video about the IKEA store. It's a very sad sight to see when you have so many new and bright stores opening up just for them to close down within months because of zero business. Westfield is the latest of more than 24 retailers who have pulled out of downtown San Francisco since the pandemic. Over the last 3 years, the mall's sales have dropped by 2/3. Foot traffic dropped by nearly 40%. With Nordstrom ending their lease, the retail occupancy rate of the flagship mall is going to be 55%, and it's going to be even lower, right? I think the vacancies are more likely to rise up to 60-70%, but they pretty much stopped it once it hit above half. This mall is now fully closed, and we're also seeing like the surrounding malls that are also closing down. Now, there's still some places of access for this mall, but many of them are just being reduced to just empty shells of their former self. That's it. Like, this is what a lot of these malls look like. It's very sad to see this kind of situation for America's biggest tech city, San Francisco. And what's even crazier is Westfield said that this isn't the case for all of their mall locations. Westfield also has malls in Australia. I didn't know about that. And they have malls all over the country. One of the more popular ones is Westfield Los Angeles. And Westfield says that their vacancy rates for other locations is less than 8%. And the only reason why there's vacancies for the other stores is if stores are transitioning to a different location or some of the rents are absurdly high. But Westfield essentially says that many of their malls only have about like 1 to 5% of vacancies. But San Francisco's location is 50%. They're also currently being sued by American Eagle because they couldn't handle the shoplifting problem. I'm sure Westfield probably contacted the city council multiple times, but nothing has ever been done. So one of the biggest malls on planet Earth, they're giving it up in one of the most lucrative cities out there because of intensive shoplifting. And look at this. San Francisco's office department isn't doing well either. San Francisco now is at 35% office vacancies, the highest ever recorded in the city's history. I mean, if you thought 01, which is a dot-com bubble, the 08, which is a real estate housing crash, if you thought those commanded very high vacancy rates, think again. San Francisco's vacancy rates is insanely high. People talk about how bad Hong Kong's vacancy is, but their vacancies are only like 15-17%. It's not fantastic, but it's better than 35%. People talk about how companies are leaving Seattle. Their vacancy rates are under 19%. Same thing with Manhattan. Their vacancies are under 15%. All these locations aren't great, but come on. 35% and it's still rising. Analysts are projecting that the vacancy rates should be hitting about 40 to 43% around 2024, maybe around fall or winter. So this is a big deal. This is a really terrible situation to be in because many of these companies are leaving and they're taking their workers with them. Workers are either getting fired, they're leaving, or they're working online, which is causing little to no foot traffic for many of these malls, which eventually shut down. And then back to this situation. They're still putting up decorations, they're still cleaning the mall, they still want to have a good image, but there's just really no stores, right? I mean, these places during the holiday week should be packed. Now, in comparison, if you type in a New York City Manhattan mall right now or a Miami mall right now, and it's the Christmas season, these malls are packed with people, right? And there's some fantastic deals in some of these malls. But the Bay Area is on a whole different collision course. Many of these big retailers are now shutting down. And what's worse is there's really not any sort of major change happening in San Francisco, which is causing many tech companies to just simply be frustrated. Some of the biggest tech firms this year and last year are all vacating hundreds and thousands of square footage of space. Block, who owns Square, vacated about 500,000 square feet. Meta, Salesforce, Snap, Lyft, Slack, Airbnb, and many, many more are all leaving. And this is just the 2022 year and 2023. 2024 is even worse, with some of the biggest tech events just simply leaving the city, which combined with the office vacancies really just makes San Francisco no longer the tech hub. San Francisco is actually getting some of their talent being stolen by Las Vegas, which is a gambling hub. They're known for casinos, it's Sin City. But surprisingly, Las Vegas is getting some of the biggest tech companies and big tech events, including IBM's Red Hat event, which is a huge deal. San Francisco CEO, who's closing his $215 million company's upscale office, says our return to work push is fighting a losing war. We're even seeing WeWork shutting down several of their co-working spaces. It seems like a lot of these workers just don't want to go back anymore, right? Because many companies, they do want employees to work online. But when you have the city deteriorating to this level and so many small businesses are moving out, that's just a reinforcement for these big tech CEOs to just simply move everyone online. Schwab has also downgraded their office from 17 stories to 6 stories. And that shows you what's up. The past 6 months, Exemplify in San Francisco has shut down their office. Their cocktail lounges are now empty. And it's not just them. Salesforce, San Francisco's biggest employer, is also shutting down their massive skyscrapers nearby. And like I said before, the real estate situation isn't really that great, considering there's also massive construction happening in California. And this will also cause even lower housing prices, but that's for a whole different story. But just to let you guys know, a lot of these locations just aren't really doing so great. A lot of these malls used to perform fantastically. And back in the old days before the pandemic, these malls, the moment they had an empty space, everyone just starts scrambling and start buying. But now it seems like nobody wants to buy anything here anymore. Renters are gone, businesses are gone, and now whole entire malls are now completely empty. It's a very sad sight to see. Hopefully things do turn around pretty soon, but it will be a very difficult journey though. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you later.